Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and today we're joined by, on my screen, he's over here. I don't know where he is on your screen.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. He's the other side, to your left side.
All right, so
that way. Yep.
So Dave is here with us to talk about miniature wargaming in all its varied forms.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem.
Actually, as you leant forward like that, it was like, oh, you look quite studious. Nicely done.
My wife is like, wait, you put a sport coat on? What, are you going on CNN? Like,
do you
no.
have the leather patches on the elbows? No.
Yeah, this is Dave. Dave's our paid miniature field correspondent.
Fantastic.
I am.
Wait, we pay him? That's great.
That's a cushy job if you can get it.
It's
Pretty much.
fantastic.
Awesome. We're just going to say hi to folks in the chat. We've got Chris Kemig is here. Josh Sawyer says, please put the show on hold for 10 minutes while I go prime before the rain comes.
I mean, technically, you can just pause it and then come back.
You could, yeah. Yep. Then you'll be like 10 minutes behind on the chat, though, but all good. Oh, Mark Maxey has joined us. Hey, Mark. Welcome, welcome. Jez Hunt has joined us. Hi, Jez. Josh is already retracting messages from the chat. This is good evening from the pocket dimension. Is that Ohio? Must be. Louise says, now time to relax and decompress from a very busy day at work. Time to enjoy another awesome show. Fantastic. And Matthew Bowles is here.
Nice.
Oodie Lolly. What's Oodie Lolly? What's that coming from? I don't know.
That's from Robin.
Patrick Milan has joined us evening, and Josh says, looking forward to this one. So, miniature agnostic, should we start with Tony Barth or Don Featherstone? Maybe Fletcher Pratt. I think Dave will take us back in time, back to the early days.
Classics.
Yes. Should be all good. Cool. Just quickly then, we have photos. I've got photos from Jake. I've got photos from Dave. And I have photos myself of things that we've been doing this past week. But just a quick, what do we, I don't know. Oh, you got your T-shirt, an Imperial Warhounds T-shirt. Nice. Looking good. What's on your T-shirt, Dave?
I think it's Groot. Oh, no, it's not. I don't know what that is.
Tank Girl.
Tank Girl?
Is it?
It's a super faded Tank Girl.
Yeah, I was like, wow. At first, I thought it was Groot for the first 5 minutes we were talking. Oh, yeah, it is Tank Girl.
Nice. Nice. You've been wearing that since the 90s, yeah?
When you were like leaning forward, it's kind of bunched up. It looks like baby Groot, and I was like, it says something, but I couldn't see what it says.
Excellent. And mine is, of course,
Aliens.
Alien.
Or alien.
Alien. Just the first lines of each letter.
Yep.
Coming in. Awesome. There we go. Jason Dyer says, looking forward to some fun stuff after a shitty weekend. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, man. Hope the family's doing okay.
We'll do what we can, man. I mean, I can't. I don't know how much we can do, but we will do our best.
Do our best. Yep. Mark Max, you saying Golden Demon stuff? I don't think any of us have painted anything that we're entering in Golden Demon. So sorry about that, Mark. And Robbie says, 2 days is confusing. Oh, no. It's very easy. When I say Dave, I'm talking about the other one.
Right.
He says Dave, he's talking about me. When Jake says Dave, we'll know.
Yeah, I'll specify.
Right. I could be talking about myself. I could be like, Dave likes his chicken spicy.
Excellent. Should we just jump in so we can show the photos?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're getting in nice and quick. Sharing my screen, clicking on window. Here we go. So, of course, we always like to start by thanking our sponsors, the Army Painter, season sponsors, which is super cool. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more news coming in a couple of weeks. I think Adepticon, we're going to hear some more stuff.
Dude, that might be the best name I've ever seen. The Real Housewife of the Underhive. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yes, last summer. And yeah, Brooke is the Real Housewife of the Underhive.
That's amazing.
That's their Instagram handles there. So, of course, Saturday was International Women's Day. The Army Painter celebrated by talking to last summer and Real Housewife of the Underhive about their perspective, basically a perspective on the hobby and their time in the hobby, and that is all on their blog. You can go and check that out.
In my household, every day is Women's Day.
Right.
Amen.
That's true. In same in my household. My wife and 2 daughters. It's all good. But yeah, go and check that out. Give it a read, and go and follow these folks. They're doing some good stuff. Nice. Also, of course, without fail, I have to mention that 28 collected pre-orders are now available. There's a link in the notes below. You can go and check those out. We are, I think, last week I'd sent off some stuff on the Monday. Found out I'd done the gatefold wrong. Had the meeting on Wednesday, and got it right on Wednesday. Got the organization, the arrangement of the pages right on Wednesday. And then it's just some other things that I've been tweaking since then. I sent the final file off yesterday, and I didn't hear back from him this morning. So either something terrible has happened in Lithuania, or I got it right.
You mentioned that on the show that we did over the weekend with the More Than Dice crew.
Yeah.
When you said you did it wrong, like what did you like? How did you do it wrong? Like,
How did I do it wrong?
like that, I was trying to figure out. I was like, I don't understand what he could have done wrong. Was it like upside down or something, or the wrong format?
No. It's basically there's something that I didn't understand work, but essentially, the way that books work is they print on a sheet of paper, 8 pages on one side, 8 pages on the other side. Then it gets folded and trimmed, and that's 16 pages. So
sure.
8 pieces of paper, 16 pages front and back.
Yeah.
That is called a signature. You take one signature and you put it next to another signature, next to another one, next to another one, and they all get glued and sewn together and then glued onto the spine.
That's why when you turn a book sideways, you can see the seams. Like you can see where those signatures are.
So each of those things is a signature. I thought that I needed a folded piece of paper that was like 6 pages, 3 pieces of paper. Like one piece of paper that took up that same amount of space, and that was going to sit in between 2 signatures. And that's what I thought, how I thought that was going to work. But
it's just a gatefold, so it's just 2 pages.
Well, it's one page that is stuck on the
double length and then folded in half.
Yeah, but you can't just stick in one sheet because
it's technically three pages, right? Because it's these 2 pages and then one of these opens up.
That's how I thought it was, but because it's just one piece that's opening up, I'm doing this. I should have gone back to this screen so we can see it a little bit clearer. There we go. So yeah, that's how I thought it was, because I thought, okay, this is the only way that a signature can be, right?
Right.
Wrong. It can be different. It can be printed so that last piece of paper, that last page, has another piece of paper that sticks out from it. I didn't know that, but that's how that works.
That's wild.
Well, I will tell you, I had to do an 8th grade playbill and I messed it up. It was like it was like 8 pages. So I can't even comprehend what you're talking about at this point.
Wait, did you do that when you were in 8th grade, or did you do
no for 8th grade this year?
Last week you did one
a month ago, literally.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But yeah, so that is a little bit of printing news.
I was just curious. That's cool though. It sounds like you've worked with these guys enough, and they're obviously really good at that. I like that they just message you and stuff. I was just trying to wrap my head around. I was like, how did he do it wrong? Like, I don't understand what he did.
Yeah, well, there's a language barrier, in that I don't speak Lithuanian. My liaison speaks Lithuanian and quite good English, and his designer doesn't speak English. So everything's always being translated back and forth. So sometimes it can be a little bit tough, and sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because it's like, I just did what you told me to. And it might have been that he slightly mistranslated, or that the designer was like, oh, I got that wrong. But they don't say, sorry, I got that wrong. It just comes back as like, change this back. Okay. But no, it's good. I'm glad that we've got that well underway. But
so how long does that take then?
Pardon?
How long does it take till you get the book then?
Oh, it'll probably take for all the printing and the binding and packaging and all that sort of stuff will probably take about a month and a bit.
Okay.
And then the longest part is getting it from Lithuania to the US for distributing the US copies.
Right.
That can take 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So we're on track though. We're still within our time budget, which is nice. Definitely good. Yeah. So yeah, actually, Matt, ends up being a 17-page signature, which is kind of crazy. But Jez says this is why we should just go back to scrolls, which is fine. And Patrick has joined us, which is super cool. So welcome.
What's up, Patrick?
Nice. Okay, let me get back to the pictures. So last Thursday,
this looks great, Dave.
It does, doesn't it? I didn't paint this. I will admit I didn't paint this. This was painted by somebody else. But no, last Thursday I went to the local gallery here, the Walters Art Museum, and they had a range of in there in the different sections of the sort of the set. What's the word I'm looking for? Collection.
Exhibit.
Representing the Walters collection. They had a bunch of arms and armor, including this piece, this
from the Sultanate.
From this, yeah, it could completely be from from the Sultanate of the Iron Wall from Trench Crusade. Just incredible amount of detail. I don't think so, Matt. I don't think it is a new exhibit, but it was up on the 4th floor. So we went up to the 4th floor and worked our way down. But no, this is just absolutely amazing. All of the tools that you need to sort of keep it clean and primed and that sort of thing are all tucked away in the stock. Loads of cool stuff. Well, they normally be tucked away in the stock, but here they're presented separately. But yeah, just beautiful work, beautiful craftsmanship, wonderful detailing. But it gave me it was very inspiring for the Sultanate stuff. as was.
Nice.
So seeing this really beautifully hammered helmet here with the chainmail coif, the shield, just all the awesome patina on these. It's like, yeah, these will really help me for will give me some great ideas for texturing as I do some more, which is great. And yeah, so we went and saw that. That was fantastic. I painted some more stuff up for my Imperial Agents army.
Very nice.
So clearing some more stuff from the decks. So this is a Rogue Trader and Entourage.
Nice.
Yep. The mini at the back there is a conversion I did ages and ages ago to be a Death Cult assassin.
Nice.
And she's sort of hovering on some little jet boots.
What did you make that from? A Scourge?
No, it's from a witch, a Dark Eldar witch.
Okay.
Yeah. Or a Drukhari witch. But
I knew it was Dark Eldar. I was like, it could be a Scourge because a bunch of the Scourges are like half floating.
Right. Yeah. No, I think I made it before they were released. So that's how long ago it was.
That's one of my favorite Rogue Trader models. Where is that? Where do you get that?
That's from the.
She was in the Elysian Starstriders box, and then
Yep.
I think you can get her in the new one of the new Inquisitorial warbands, the big ones. Like we have those in stock, and then I don't know if they printed. I don't know if she's in anything else.
Was she in a kill? She was in a kill team.
Originally, it was the Kill Team box with
Okay.
the Galapox infected, the one that was labeled Rogue Trader. It was
Right. Okay.
the Galapox infected and
Yes.
her and her entourage. Her entourage from that box ended up being. I painted those up earlier, so I wanted to fill out a new entourage for her. And this guy is from Blackstone Fortress. She's a conversion, as we just talked about, and this guy is from I think the Corpse Guild from Necromunda.
Okay.
It's a fantastic squat mini.
That model's pretty great.
It looks awesome. So I painted them, and I also painted up some minis for 1490 Doom.
Dave, these look great.
Yeah.
They came out pretty well.
You definitely channeled your inner Blanche to because Dave does not usually do like really dirty, like worn kind of stuff like this that often. So
the this is one where I think I talked about it last week about what I was hoping to do with them. And essentially it was the bases. What I did with the minis was I primed them black, then I hit them from the front, sort of the head and shoulders from the front with white. And then I painted the base with Banshee Brown from the John Blanche set. And I painted that about 2/3 of the way up the model. And then I mixed in some of the, while all of that was still wet, I mixed in some of the blighted green, which is the really dark green, so that it kind of swirled. It was kind of random. Put it in patches and worked it up the model. And then I just painted everything, like the head and the shoulders and everything in kind of a sort of a circle around that area. And I basically, I did a little bit of highlighting on some areas that might catch a little bit more light, but essentially not. There's a lot of this isn't painted beyond the brown and the green.
did you, Dave, is that non-metallic metal or did you do straight metallic?
No, you use metallics, yeah.
Because the knight on the back left, that looks phenomenal. That looks like non-metallic.
Okay. Well, I definitely sort of went in that sort of true metallic style. So using metallics and the non-metallic style with metallic paints.
That's how I do. That's how I do metals. I highlight using different shades of metallic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He looks great though.
Yeah. This is what you did is really effective.
Yeah, it worked really well for these particular models as well, because in the game you only use 3 of them. You only have 3 models in the game, and
Whoa, sign me up.
I think I painted I think I painted 5 of them in like 2 hours, and it was mainly because there was a lot of stuff I just didn't paint. Outside of that,
It's such a weird looking warband. Like if you go left to right, you've got like a heavy knight, a knight, a jester, and whatever that guy is with the pan on his head. Like I was like,
yep. Is
that a peasant who's farming for filth?
It's a knight,
Filth
a knight, a
farmer.
farmer, a saboteur, and a scavenger. So yeah. He's got that like an enormous sack that he's got over his shoulder, but he goes around and scavenges stuff.
He's like, "Oh, Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here."
Yes.
But really, really characterful.
But yeah, I'll bring these along to Adepticon, and Dave, we can track down the 1490 eyes and get a game in.
Awesome.
Demo game is only like 20 minutes.
3 models, 20 minutes. You're man.
Yeah, well, so for a demo game, for the full game, it's probably more like 40 minutes.
Yeah, anytime I can play a game and my army is like transported, like I'm like, oh, let me take out my army. Let's
right.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But yeah. Cool. Thanks for everybody in the chat who's saying nice things about them. I was pretty happy with how they
Sean Gleason jumped on, Scott Radham jumped on.
John's here. Excellent. Very cool. Welcome everybody. Next up, we've got some stuff from Dave. So I think a couple of weeks ago we showed the book on the left.
Yeah, you showed off the book.
Yep. What did you do with the on the right?
So I was feeling a little bad that I had made this custom case for my Sisters of Sigmar, and my old like 1999 Vampire Warband they were going to go in a regular case. So I'm like, yeah, they deserve something, right? A little something extra. So my daughter had these like jewelry cases that were shaped like coffins.
Right.
So I stole one from her. She won't notice, and I don't think she's gonna watch this. So
she might.
Well, maybe. But so yeah, I think there's another picture. I don't know if I had the picture of like, but I just sort of inside there's like foam. You know, I thought it'd be interesting for Mordheim, right? Because it's it's sort of thematic for Mordheim to have, maybe a thematic case.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's super cool.
But these are from 1999, these figures.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's not a vampire count. That's a Bretonian.
Oh, don't tell her that.
She'll come and visit you at night, Jake. And
I mean, listen, I don't worry about anything blood related. All right.
Excellent. Nice. But they look super cool. And yeah, Bretonian, you've got that's a Sister of Sigmar Olga, isn't it? With the skull, but she's got a skull in her hand.
Right. So she ends up being the necromancer.
Yeah.
Right.
She looks great.
Nice.
They look good. Loving it. And of course, we're showing these again. These are the from Bombshell Minis.
Right. Patrick Keith. And these are
so
much fun to paint.
Or Dark Grim City.
Yeah. He's still one of my favorite sculptors.
This is from Mordberg.
Mordberg.
Right.
Nice. But no, they look fantastic. We love those.
Thank you.
And I think
we sang we sang a lot of praises for those guys when we saw them. The girls look awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
And you sent this one through as well.
Well, we're talking about miniatures agnostic games. We did like a little mini campaign for Rogue Stars.
Okay.
And we wanted to do, we love Star Wars, but we weren't ready to commit to like Legion-sized games or, Shatterpoint's fine, but we wanted to sort of make our own crews. Right. So Rogue Stars as a miniatures agnostic game was like the perfect, the perfect avenue for that.
Yeah.
So this is Vesta Threll and the crew of the Cyclopean Wind. They're sort of like Hera and the Ghost, but total jerks.
Yeah, I see you got a Twi'lek and you got a Jawa.
Yeah, they're not They're not great people.
You got a trend. Oh, I mean, you got a Trendoshan in there, so
right.
Which one's the Trendoshan?
The big sort of lizard guy on the right.
The green guy. Is that what Bosk is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Excellent.
I keep telling Ross at Atomic Mass, I keep waiting for them to make a Jawa warband. As soon as they make a Jawa band for Shatterpoint, I was like, I'm in. Like, I want to run like
get me into Shatterpoint too.
I just want to run like 12 Jawas. Like that's my whole warband.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fantastic.
Like a cardboard standee of a sand crawler, and then like 12 Jawas. Like that's it.
That'd be great. But no, they look great, Dave.
Yeah. So this was like an example of like, you know, we like some of these are Legion figures, some of them are were STL prints.
Yeah.
But like somebody like you know, one of my friends ran like an Imperial group, and we just like statted everything out in Rogue Stars. And just played, you know, then we played Star Wars.
Cool. That's great. Where does Rogue Stars come from? Who makes that?
That's an Osprey game.
Osprey. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool thing. They look great. I think that's that is it for our oh no, wait. And this is what you're also working on, Dave?
This is like work in progress shots. Yeah.
Cool.
These are great. Somebody had a different version of that guy on the left a couple weeks ago. I love that model.
I think that was Dave last week. Yeah.
The other one?
That was the one that has an axe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't realize those were also yours.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he's gonna look a lot like that guy when he's done.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are so much fun to paint, and I will say, you know, I love the World War I sort of tones that you can use, and I'm using a lot of historical colors with the metallics, so it's a nice. Yeah, they're fun. I mean, it's just, you know, they're fun to paint.
Yeah. No, it's definitely cool. They're looking great. Very nice.
Thank you.
I like the way you paint, Dave. It always cracks me up when I see people like I can't, or when I paint, I do not do this. Like I like how you're like, I'm gonna paint this guy from the waist down and then his arms and then just the crest of his helmet. And I'll, you know what I mean? Like whenever I see people paint like I'm always like, my brain hurts. I can't do that. Like,
so yeah, I do. I don't know how I got into this you know, sort of groove with this, but I do the metallics last.
Okay.
So I paint everything that's not metallic, finish it, and then do the metallics.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do something. I do something similar. If the armor isn't, if the model isn't mostly metallics, it'll be paint everything else, tidy everything up with black, and then paint the metallics. Quick tidy up with black, then paint the black. That's my sort of cycle. But
I don't know that I have like a. Well, no, I mean I probably do. I always try to paint. When Dave and I do lessons, I always say like I always try to paint inside out. So, like if I do a lot of Space Marines, like I do a lot of like big armored guys. So I typically like, what's the bulk of this model, and I try to get that done first. So usually it's like, especially if it's a Marine with like a rifle, I like work my way from the inside out. So I do all the armor first, and then I go back and I do all my touch ups, and then I do all their shoulder pads, and I do their guns, and I kind of work my way out. And then the last thing I do is usually the eyes. That's usually the eye lenses on a Space Marine. That's the last thing I do.
Yeah.
If it has a face, and most of these Trench Crusade guys, you know, just don't have faces.
Yeah.
Which is creepy. But usually I'll do the face first, right? And do the face. And if I'm happy with the face, like move on right from there.
Yeah.
But these are like a breath of fresh air because nobody's got a face.
No, they're looking great. Very nice.
Thanks. I'll bring them to Adepticon. I'm going to have enough to play for sure.
Awesome. That's cool. And speaking of the way Jake paints, he sent me photos. He's painted 20 guys.
Yeah, pretty good. I'm doing okay. I'm on track.
Yep.
Yeah. So gotta represent. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I did these guys in a really different way. I normally don't paint like this. So I sent Dave a bunch of, or didn't send them to Dave. I will. I have a bunch of, I did all the bases separately, which I've never done before.
Bases look great.
Typically I paint all my models and then I base them all. But I usually have them on bases. But this time, because it's Sector Mechanicus bases, and I was like, they're going to be all like weird and metallic and distressed and stuff. I was like, they're not going to have any of the same colors as the models. I don't want to screw with that. So I put all the bases. I used poster tack and put them all in a box, and then sprayed them all black, and then dry brushed them with metallic, like 3 different metallics, and then went in and did like all the rust and then all the verdigris and all the edging. And then once those guys were done, the first 3, I used a scraper and scraped the bottom of their feet and then lined them up and then scraped where the model was going to go on the base. And after like 6 of them, I was like, this is going to take me a million years. So I was like, I'm just going to super glue them all. So I super glue them onto the bases. Dave was telling me to do that. And I was like, I really want to just plastic glue them.
I said, do them, just super glue them. If the paint breaks off, you just glue that back down.
Yeah. With oh god, what is it called? Magic blue. And I zenithal based on, I sprayed them like gray, and then I dusted them with white, and then painted the whole body with magic blue, then painted all the shoulder pads with matte white, washed those with blinding light, I think is the speed paint. I wasn't really super happy with it. Like it's very kind of neutral gray, and I was like, I didn't really like that, so I painted over it pretty heavy with matte white again and built it back up, and then used grim black speed paint on the bolters, used I think it's enchanted steel on all the metal parts, and then painted the stripes and stuff on the sergeant with I painted a very careful white stripe, and then I went over that with slaughter red speed paint. And then the eyes are Turbo Dork. The eyes and the lens on top of the head, that's all Turbo Dork. It's red rum. And then glued them onto the bases, and then I put them all in a box upstairs, and I did the old toothpick and a brush and flicked strong no, I don't know if it's strong tone or dark tone. It's whatever the darker one is. I flicked that all over them. That's what all the specs are. I wanted them to look like dirty and kind of mucked up. And then I hand painted blotches of it all over their blue armor in different spots and on their backpacks. Okay. And then I just super glued the dog icon on all their shoulders.
Right. Okay.
The sergeants, I did a little more stuff on, like the guy in the front. Like I said, he has a stripe, and then he's got the little
like an auspex.
Yeah, an auspex on his hip. So I basically painted that silver, painted the screen white, did some little dots and dashes with a dark red, and then used the Necron color, Tesseract glow over that. I did 2 layers of that to make it look nice and like electric green. But they were fun. And then if you go back one, like this guy, I had to swap out. I swapped out his head. He's one of only 2 models in my army that aren't wearing a helmet. And on his left hip, you can just barely see it. He has a brass helmet because that's apparently how they mark their sergeants. These are stripes or brass. So if he's gonna get stuck in, he would just put his helmet on.
Right. Sure.
But no, they. I was happy with how they came out. They're not quite how I want them, but they came out pretty quick. So.
Yeah. Josh says, those aren't Blood Angels. Who are you and what have you done with Jake?
They're not Blood Angels, but they're another like crazy assault army. So I'm happy.
It's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. And I'm running them as loyalists. So it's basically these guys are done. Today I got the 4 apothecaries and my Mortat fully blued out. Like all the blue is done. So I'm going to my goal is to get the 5 of them done by the end of the day tomorrow, and that'll mean I'm 50% done with just under 2 weeks to go. So I'll be in a good spot. If I can tomorrow, I might try to get them done and get the Leviathan done.
Oh, nice.
So if I can get all that done, that'll leave me with basically the Praetor. The Praetor is going to be the hardest one to paint. There's so much detail on him. Yeah. I basically can't do him the same way as these guys, but I've got 10 assault marines or despoilers, and they're just like Mark II. They're Mark III armor dudes with axes. They'll be easy. And then the Rampager squad, they have a lot of detail on them too, but my plan is that once everything is done, I'm going to put them all in a box again, and I'm going to flick them with Blood for the Blood God.
Right.
But I have to do that after I matte varnish them all.
Sure.
Right.
So that and like the rust effect that Gonzo talked about, I have to, once they're all done and they're matted, then I'll do that, and then they're done.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
I was happy with them. I think they came out pretty good. The stain and stuff, the flex came out really good, I think, on the shoulders. You can't see them that great here because my phone's not the best, but I was pleased with how they came out. So
cool. Awesome. No, I will say, like, I know last year with when we were doing the Tale of Four Warlords, I was like super worried, but now I'm super excited for you. Like this year around, I'm super excited because I know you're gonna get done and you're having fun doing it, which is great. Man.
So yeah, I need that deadline, man. I need that crunch.
Excellent.
That helps.
Great. I think so that covers that. Now we're going to jump into the topic of the show. All right, we finally got there. Well, there we go. Blood and Zeal Kill Team is not the topic of the show, but I did love this box set, so I figured to use this as an example. But
that's such an awesome piece of scenery too.
It is super cool. I'm so glad I already have them, which is nice. But
is that supposed to be Celestine? I'm assuming.
I don't know, not specifically.
I mean, how many winged sisters are there?
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Hundreds of dozens at least.
Yeah. But yeah, so I wanted us to sort of talk about the concept of miniatures agnostic a little bit on the show tonight, mainly because a lot of the YouTube media I've been consuming recently, folks have been super hyper focused on, if I'm playing this game, I must use these miniatures, and having trouble looking outside of the very narrow channel. So I wanted to talk about what possibilities there are, what the sort of thing, where the idea of miniatures agnostic came from or comes from. I know Josh has already mentioned a bunch of names going back into wargaming history, which is definitely cool. But that's why I wanted to bring Dave on, because I know that his mind is always in that, where can I find cool models? Where can I get cool models from? Kind of place. Yeah. So actually, one of the things we didn't do at the start, we just said, hey, this is Dave. Welcome. Dave, you've been wargaming for a long time. How long now?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about this. I would go back to maybe, like the summer of maybe 87, when we were listening to the dulcet tones of In Excess and Suicide Blonde, right? That's when I got, I read, I was a D&D player.
Yeah.
But like the, Rogue Trader was just coming out, and I read a review of it in a Dragon magazine. And at the same time, I saw, remember the Regiments of Renown, where you got 60 models?
Right. Yeah.
60 fantasy models. So that was it. It's, that's definitely got me started.
Cool.
But yeah, we, and since then, I there was a long period I got into a lot of historical wargaming.
Yep. And you used to play at you used to frequent the Emperor's Headquarters?
Emperor's Headquarters. Yeah. That was the good old days, sort of the salad days, right? The owner was, quite wealthy, and he just, he had all this magnificent terrain that I think my deal was, if I painted like a couple regiments of 15 millimeter Highlanders for him, he would let us play 40K on one of the tables.
Right.
So we had like a little back area, a little back corner for 40K.
Right.
So
nice.
Yeah.
That's great. I think you and I met at a games day or a grand tournament or an Adepticon. I can't remember exactly which one. but possibly all three.
Yeah.
And we've known each other for about 20 years.
Absolutely.
And played a lot of different games in that time.
Absolutely.
So that's why I wanted to get Dave on. But anyway, just quickly in the chat, we've got Patrick says he's totally stoked for Blood and Zeal. Mike Sibilia says we are indeed in the golden age of miniature agnostic games from all sorts of creative vectors, allowing you to use all your models and be creative in all new ways. Last week, we showed sort of Mike's Sisters of Battle that he had painted up for Trench Crusade.
Yeah, they looked awesome.
They did look fantastic. Absolutely. Malev has joined us. Hello, Malev. Says, I prefer when my miniatures are agnostic. Absolutely. Matt Bowles says, I'm falling into a War Games Atlantic rabbit hole. They have such a great range of fantasy and futuristic minis. Just says, I reckon neither of the forces in that 40k box are agnostic. They're probably not. They've probably got pretty firm ideas on there.
I'd say they're pretty orthodox.
Yes. Fantastic. Super Dan Osborne has joined us. He said picked up several of the Bestiarum models. Patreon for Trench Crusade. Really awesome models in that range. Scott Radham says Kick is an all-time album.
He's not wrong.
Absolutely.
100%.
Fantastic. I subject my daughters to it in the car on a regular basis. And Jazz Hunt says all mini games are mini agnostic if you play with your friends. Been playing 7TV and Devilry Afoot with minis from all over the place. It's been lovely. Game is looking how I picture them. Absolutely.
Amen.
Alan has joined us. Says, you guys had a daylight savings change recently? Started an hour earlier and I nearly missed this. Sorry about that. Yes.
It wasn't our idea.
I'm totally fine with daylight savings, and I would hope that we don't go back to not having it. Jake just doesn't like the change, but yeah, usually we do it about 2 or 3 weeks before Australia and New Zealand do it. So, and yes, Scott says time zone changes are hella whack. They are indeed.
He's not wrong.
We agree. So Dave, actually no, let's jump into this and talk about games like I wanted to use this box set as an example because it's new. It's got very specific models in it, and Kill Team is a game that has the rules are set up for very specific loadouts on your models and that kind of thing.
For a quick second, I had to be like, Dave, you misunderstood the assignment. This is not a miniatures agnostic game.
This is true. I wanted to have this starting point so that we could circle back at the end. But I wanted to have this starting point. And I know that I'm certainly excited about these models, but I don't know I won't be using them to play Kill Team with. So that's a sort of a baseline point. The next there we go. Clicking the right buttons. So Shatterpoint is another game that is kind of in that focused view. Shatterpoint game has very specific Shatterpoint miniatures that are made for it. Different groups, different what are they called? They're not called gangs, they're not called war bands. Are they called posses?
I think they're just called packs, but I don't remember.
Forces. This is your force.
Squad.
Squad's a good one.
Yeah, squad probably works.
Let's go with squad then. But you have a very, very specific sort of squads that are set up for the game. Factions. Yeah, possibly factions.
You do have some freedom with this game because the idea is that you can
strike teams.
Strike teams. So each person has to run 2 teams. But you can kind of pick and choose which teams you want. Now, the game is definitely set up in such a way that certain teams benefit from similar rules. Like you wouldn't want to take half the Bad Batch and like half a random Jedi faction because it'd be weird. Like your abilities, it's like do this. It affects all Bad Batch members, and you're like, okay, so it affects half of my guys.
Right.
It's just it's very similar to Marvel Crisis Protocol. Like you want to, it makes sense to leverage your faction abilities.
Right.
So, but you do have the freedom to kind of go, I don't want to run those 4 guys. I want to run 4 different guys. That's fine. You can do that.
Yeah. But those 4 different guys will still be Star Wars guys, right?
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, it's
a miniatures made by Atomic Mass Games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the point for tonight. Yeah.
I have some thoughts, but later.
Some thoughts on this, or do you want me to flick
Well,
through?
just like I think there's, like the reason I sent you like that Star Wars crew for Rogue Stars, right? Is just there's this idea that, it's not just the miniatures per se. You sort of like sometimes there's like a philosophical, like you want to like create your own characters, right?
Yeah.
When we used to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle, you had your named characters like Grom the Paunch, right?
Yeah.
But we really liked making up our own characters. So I mean, I love Ahsoka Tano, I love Rocket and Groot, but like on some level, when I want to play a game, I sort of want to tell the story, the narrative of, of my characters, right?
Right.
So I have a unique question for you guys, because this has come up a couple times in my store. So this is technically not miniatures agnostic, but I've seen people do it in such a way that I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm sure everybody here is familiar with the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures game. Same company as this, Atomic Mass. Really fun game. The minis are great. We see a lot of them painted up in the show.
Yeah.
So there's another game that we've seen miniatures for that Dave and I've used, the Marvel United game, which is still Marvel miniatures, and it's made by a different company. It's made by Spin Master and Simon, but there was a guy who online put out rules that have a conversion so that you can use your Marvel United guys to play Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. So it's all the chibi heroes, because a lot of the miniatures exist in both lines. Yep. So this guy was like, yeah, here you go. This is how you do it. And it's like, I think it's like a 2-inch conversion for everything. And then you just play it using all the chibi heroes. And I was like, that's super cool. Again, it's not really miniatures agnostic, because you're still using, if it's Captain America, you're still using Captain America. You're just not using theirs, and the scale is different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was about to say, what would the rules be? What rules would you need to switch out of Captain America? But if it's a scale thing, sure, it's
basically just a scale conversion, specifically because they're so much smaller.
Right.
Right. But does somebody make a, just a more general, like superhero miniatures game, right? Where you can like equip your superhero the way you want to equip your superhero.
Right.
Or give them the powers, whatever mutant powers that you want, like your character to have.
Yeah. My friend Eric has who hosts the game night that I usually go to every other Wednesday. I'm going tomorrow to play Rain in Hell. He's written a superhero game, and we were probably about 80% of the way through nailing everything down when Marvel Crisis Protocol was announced, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, we played that a bunch of times, where it was create your own characters, have your own, spend the points to get your different powers and abilities across your gang of like 5 guys. And then it was for that as well, was drawing miniatures from wherever you wanted to. So classic sort of Invisible Man kind of models, or floating guys with capes, all that sort of thing that you can find around the place from different manufacturers. But yeah, we were creating our own characters, telling our own stories.
Yeah, I don't know why Games Workshop got away from that. I think it was up until like 7th edition in Warhammer Fantasy, maybe 8th, 7th or 8th, and then it was probably like 6th edition in 40K. You could make your own characters. Like, we got to do it even on a professional level when White Dwarf. There's a White Dwarf issue that all the stores in North America got to make a hero and or an Imperial and a non-Imperial that were heroes that were in that oh god, what campaign was that? Was it Medusa?
Medusa 5?
It might have been in the Medusa campaign, but there was that big poster that was double-sided that was in White Dwarf, and there were all these articles, and we got to do it. And I literally just used the character I use in my Blood Angels games, which is, you know, I would take a base chaplain, and you could buy gear, and I'd give him a Crozius, because that's what chaplains have, and then I'd mastercraft it, and then I'd give him a Power Fist, and I'd mastercraft it, and then I'd give him a Jump Pack and a Melt-A-Pistol. And I was like, come get some. Like, he was gross. Like, he was better than almost all the characters in the book. Like, Dante was better than him, but Dante was crazy and had his own rules, but he was better than any of the chaplains. Like, he was just really fun. But then they, like I said, I don't know why they did. They were like, oh, let's get away from this now. I was like, really? Like, it just seemed like a weird move, but
and there certainly has been that move from them to basically remove the invitation. There used to be an invitation to create, and they've removed that invitation. It's still possible,
right?
They're just not publicly invited to on a regular basis, kind of thing.
No, exactly. And it used to be that's sort of what they promoted, I thought, right? You know, back in the, you know, the whole idea was like you're creating this Space Marine captain or Orc warlord, right? And they're like, you know, you're going to take them from, you know, their meager beginnings with their, you know, their retinue, and, you know, eventually they're going to become, you know, these mighty warlords. You know, so you're telling this like story as your games progress, you know, in sort of a narrative way.
It's still, the narrative point is still built in. Like, I know, because they all still have like Crusade rules. I forget what it's called in Age of Sigmar, but like the Crusade stuff still exists. So, and to Scott's point, yes, you can still use, you know, generic characters. Like, you can use a captain or, you know, a knight or a warlord or a vampire lord or something. But the difference is that Dave's definitely right. You can still do it, but it's like whatever I pick for my HQ choice, like if I pick, like last year when I brought the Flesh Eaters, I took a captain and then I gave him the Blade Guard upgrade, which is he gets the Relic Shield and the Relic Sword, and he gets a Heavy Bolt Pistol. And then I can pick whatever gear I can physically give him, and that's up to me. The difference was before there was no cap. It's like if you took an independent character, you got access to the independent character war gear list. And everybody got access to whatever their army's list was. And you could take whatever you want. You could spend as many points. You could be like, I'm going to take an orc and I'm going to give him mega armor. And I'm going to give him, you know, like a blaster cannon. And I'm going to paint his armor. I'm going to put rocket boosters on his armor. It was up to you where you want it to stop. Whereas now it's like, you can make your own guy, but you're limited by whatever that character can have.
Yeah. You might have one choice. You might have two choices. You might have four.
Yeah.
It's not going to be more than that, for sure.
Now, again, like I said, if you do the Crusade stuff, there are all the, you know, the Crusade upgrades and stuff like, oh, your captain survived, so you get, you know, Veteran of the Long War or whatever, so you get like an extra bonus die, or you get like an extra wound, or like, so I love Crusade. We've talked this before, like narrative stuff to me is always the best. So that, like, I like that stuff, but it is different. It's not, as to Dave's point, it's not as like easy to find the invitation as it used to be. So
yeah. Robbie said, I think the tournament popularity has forced a more cookie cutter force to try and focus the and level the meta field.
You are not wrong. One more reason I hate
that makes sense.
And and Alan says it's also linked to the models available as a legacy of Chapter House. You can only take what's on the model now, which is absolutely true. If the model doesn't have that option in the set, you can't take it.
Right.
But one other example of the like a super focused, not miniatures agnostic kind of approach that I've got here is a game like Judge Dredd from Warlord Games.
Awesome.
Again, this is a game where the miniatures you want to use, that you're going to use, are from the company that makes the game, Warlord Games. And the thing that links all of these through is intellectual property. So where a company is selling a product that has an intellectual property associated with it. In GW's case, they created 40K, they created Age of Sigmar, they created Warhammer. All those things have that intellectual property associated with it. So you want to get the your Noise Marines or Death Guard or Eldar, things that are very specific to them. Judge Dredd, you want to get a Lawmaster. You want to have Judge Dredd. You want to have Judge Anderson, that kind of thing.
Judge Death.
Fighting against fighting against the all the gangers from Mega City 1.
Dude, you gotta love the lawgiver. Like that thing is so hilarious. You can see why GW was like, yeah, our bikes are Judge Dredd, and the Vincent Black Shadow motorcycles are definitely those bikes. And I was like, yeah, awesome.
Absolutely. But when you're able to step away from intellectual property is when we can start to get into that miniature agnostic kind of thing. All right.
Warlord has a whole like Simon Bisley like thing right now because you can also play Slain, another one of his.
Right.
I saw that. Yeah.
Absolutely. There we go. Jez just said he's got all of Warlord's Slain range, but not actually played the game. But he's used the minis in a few games because they're awesome cult lunatics.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Mantic Games did The Walking Dead All Out War. Again, there's very specific miniatures in here that match the Walking Dead comic book series, which I think I have over here somewhere. Thought I got from Jake. I got them from you, Jake, ages ago. But obviously, this is Survivors Against Zombies, and there are other games that are made that are zombie games like Ash Barker's Last Days Zombie Apocalypse.
We do know Ash Barker.
So the two games do play differently, but it's survivors against zombies against survivors, which all good zombie games should be. But this one's Mantic Games wants you to buy the Walking Dead minis that they've sculpted. Ash doesn't make minis. Osprey Games don't make minis. This is your opportunity to go absolutely crazy and find the best Survivor minis, the best zombie minis.
You know what I'm gonna do? This is a great idea. I'm gonna buy a couple copies of this and put it in the board game section with Zombicide. So if anybody buys Zombicide, I'll be like, hey, you can also play this really cool tabletop miniatures game, Last Days, using all the stuff that you just got in that Zombicide box.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sure.
Let me make a quick note to self.
Yep. Put it down. Excellent. So, sorry, Scott says, have Ash back on. I like being able to see Dave Taylor's headache start and then flourish through the show. Absolutely.
That episode is hilarious.
Yeah. Alan also says, the Walking Dead models are great. I've used them in Last Days and many other zombie sets. I have a thing for zombie games. Just got Z Rangers in the post yesterday. It sounds like it. But Dave, you mentioned historical games. The next thing I've got here. This is another interesting example, and it's working on that the idea that so Hail Caesar is a great, nice, fairly swift, fairly generic historical, like ancient historical game. Doesn't take too long to pick it up.
No, it's very playable.
Yeah, very playable. Playable is a great word. There are some ancient games that are not as playable.
No,
I forget. Is Hail Caesar the small one?
Well,
yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because they make two, right?
Well, the epic scale. There's an epic scale Hail Caesar.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I know this is the new one, but I thought they make. I thought the full size one. I thought there's like a like an Age of Sigmar big battle game version you could play, and then I thought there's like a skirmish warband version you can play.
Oh, there's SPQR.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Smaller skirmish, sort of ancient skirmish game.
Yeah, that one's like a that's the one I'm thinking of.
But so this is an example of it's a game that's made by a company that wants to sell miniatures. So they make games and they make box sets that work perfectly for their miniatures, for their rule sets. Sorry. But again, there are tons of companies out there that sell ancients.
Because would you say at the end of the day they're not making a ton of money from their rules?
I've said for years the biggest thing that I think and again, John Russell is a good friend of ours. Like we've had him on. Like
great guy.
And like we all know a lot of the senior leadership there. Like, John Stallard is is both of ours old boss's boss. Like when I got hired, John Stallard was in charge of North America. And I love Warlord. I love the guys there. Like so many people at the company, like I think are awesome folks. I think the biggest thing that hurts them is the fact that they don't own anything. Like, like Hail Caesar is historical. Like Bolt Action is historical. Like everything that they make, other than the licensed stuff that they make. Like we just showed off, Slain and Judge Dredd. They don't own that. They're licensing that from Rebellion, right? And 2000 AD. So. Right. Like that's the only thing right now that they own Conflict 47 that they just purchased that from the guys at Clockwork Goblin, I think a couple years ago. Yeah. But like when your whole business is making a miniatures game for an IP that you don't own, like I said, that's weird. That's got to be hard for them. So,
yeah, I think they're very well aware that they don't own this. But I think their aim is to make sort of some of the best miniatures for this sort of gaming, for ancient gaming, Napoleonics, World War II, and make it affordable, loads of plastics. They're hoping that people will buy them and maybe use them for other games as well. One of the things I thought you were going to go into was talking about something that somebody mentioned. I can't remember, was it Dave or Jake? You mentioned not making much money on the rules.
That was Dave, not me.
Right.
Well, yeah, I would agree, but I would agree with that.
No, I said that. I remember saying that.
Yeah. I will admit, I'm not sure exactly how much they're making on those books, but I think the business focus would be on the sale of miniatures.
But I think like with the Epic, I think they centered in on maybe a scale that didn't have a lot of, competition.
Right.
And they came up with a really, the modified rule set is fantastic. I think this was smart. I mean, to do this.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, as well, they've chosen to do this for Hail Caesar, for, Black Powder,
right? The English Civil War.
There's the Napoleonics, there's the American Civil War. Now there's this. I'm not gonna lie, this is the one I was waiting for. I've always wanted to play an epic game, and I love the idea. Like trying to play even Hail Caesar, you can't really run a Legion because it's like that's just too many guys. You couldn't really do that. But at this, you could be like, oh, we're gonna recreate the Battle of Pharsalus. It's like. So I've got, Caesar's Legion, and you've got like the 2 legions that Pompey has, and I've got a bunch of auxiliaries. Like you could actually do that, and it would take up this much space. So I love that. I think this is a great idea. But then Warlord also does stuff like they make what's the book? They make Warlords of Erewhon, which is specifically a miniatures agnostic game. And they're like, well, you can. I remember when they pitched it, they're like, oh yeah, it's just a cool rule set, so you can play like fantasy games and all kinds of battles. But the miniatures you can use whatever you want. And I was like, but you're a miniatures company, like why? It was just really weird to do that. So
right.
It is kind of a weird thing. I'm just going to jump back into the chat for a second, and we've got Yeah, Patrick
Oh,
says
Scott,
one of the hardest
Scott,
things
print,
about
print is dead except for the art of series. There you go, Dave.
Yeah, nice one, Scott. One of the hardest parts of being a small independent producer is no one is interested in buying unrecognizable original model designs. But then when you do produce not models, there's a large amount of pushback for ripping off any IP that may be similar to. Yeah, it's a tough, particularly for small independent folks like Patrick and Bombshell and others. So I think I know that my approach to it is always going to be look out there, see what you can find the cool models. We know that Patrick's always going to make some very cool looking minis. He might not have a plan of what they're for. He might not have a property that they're attached to, but he's going to make some cool stuff. So look for the Patricks out there. Find those people who are making those cool minis.
I never really thought about that. Patrick makes a really good point. You really do have to kind of walk that fine line. You can't make something that's so unique that has nothing to do with anything, because then he's right. People are like, why would I buy that model? But you also can't make something that's so on the nose that people are like, well, why would I buy that when I could just buy the real thing? Or, hey, you're ripping off whatever. There's a company. I remember showing these to Dave last year. It's one of the, is it a Risa? They make all the weird like whale dudes and like the shark people. Like they're all one-off models. They look amazing. I always look at them and I'm like, that's so cool. And then I'm like, what would I ever use this for? Like they're super cool. Like I love their stuff, but I'm like, I don't need this giant killer whale barbarian guy. Like it's, again, really neat, but I don't need to get him. Like
right. Well, like with like Patrick with his sisters, right? For Mordheim, you know, the not Sisters of Sigmar, the Sisters of Hammer. They're just brilliant miniatures, like foundationally. Like the first thing is they're fantastic miniatures. And there's a bunch of games you could use them for. I ran like a Dungeons and Dragons game for some people who, had never played D&D before. And I was like, oh, I got a cleric for sure right here. But at the same time, it was like Mordheim's not really being supported anymore by Games Workshop, obviously, right? But all these other companies, and there's a lot of people doing digital sculpts for Mordheim. At the end of the day, they're really for Mordheim, and it's now like Mordheim is becoming more popular than ever, and I think part of it is just the great models that are out there.
I think that's that sort of thing also happened with Blood Bowl. A lot of fantastic new teams, crazy teams, weird things, anthropomorphic animal teams, all sorts of wild stuff that, again, helped Blood Bowl stay alive, kept Blood Bowl alive during the period when Games Workshop weren't looking at it.
Wood elves for life, son.
You're wrong, but okay.
Sorry, dude. I love that team. I always win like 4 touchdowns. I always win like 4 touchdowns to 1.
Excellent. One of the things that so I pulled up Frostgrave and Stargrave specifically. So 2 games written by Joseph McCulloch, published by Osprey Games, and these ones are an interesting one because Joe wrote them as miniatures agnostic games. He's not worried about what models you use, but North Star Miniatures in the UK, is worried about would really like you to use their miniatures because they've worked out a deal with Osprey, and they make the sort of the officially licensed miniatures for Frostgrave and Stargrave. They make some great stuff, some fantastic plastic kits.
It is a really cool symbiotic relationship that they've developed. It's almost like it's like GW Studio and GW Production. Imagine if they were 2 different companies. That's literally how it works. You're like, what does Osprey do? We make books. And you're like, okay, cool. What does North Star do? They're like, we make miniatures. Do you guys make rules? We do not. You're like, okay, like so you have to get both of them. It's pretty cool. Like there's not a lot of that in the industry where 2 companies have like been basically mutually agreed to support one another like that.
Yep. Absolutely. Jez says Joe McCullough is a great rules creator for my tastes. Rangers of Shadowdeep is one of my favorite games of all time.
Rangers is awesome.
Absolutely. Alan says Reaper Minis are great for Frostgrave, and we've done multiple themed Stargrave campaigns. Current one is using the actual models, so the models from North Star, but Firefly themed, and the last one was Inquisition Warbands.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning an Ice Pirates themed.
Nice. We were just talking about Ice Pirates a couple days ago.
By the dime. Yeah.
Excellent.
I
think Joe McCullough.
Yeah. So I was going to say with the just quickly for the Ice Pirates thing. Basically, Space Herpes was used as the ratings for a movie or like any sort of media rating. So if you're like, I saw this movie the other night, it was terrible. 4 out of 5 Space Herpes.
So is it bad to have more Space Herpes?
Is the best score.
Yeah, no Space Herpes was better.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so Joe McCullough came out with I don't know him. I call him Joe.
Yeah.
It's like
I make Joe.
It's like I called James Cameron. I call him Jim Cameron.
Okay.
I don't know Jim Cameron. But
I call him Jimmy.
Frostgrave was 2015 that came out.
Frostgrave? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
I was a big fan of the Other Worlds miniatures. I'm sure you guys have seen. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was like, as an old school D&D player, I was like, those models look, so I put a Frostgrave crew together with those.
Yep. Excellent. I think Cal, I'm not sure if Cal's watching tonight, but one of our regular viewers also paints up a lot of Otherworld minis. But definitely cool. Steven's back home. Finally back home and can watch now. Excellent. Josh has said it's the cultural zeitgeist, Jake. Things come and go in waves.
It is wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here we go. Cal is here. Poor old child. And just as Crooked Dice has just got hold of a load of Otherworld sculpts. So that's another place you can find them. What we might do, what I might ask is for folks who are in the chat to jump into, I know that a bunch of you are in the Facebook group, jump in there, put together a post, and we'll put together a list of companies that make great miniatures that are outside of game manufacturers, I guess. We're just looking for miniature manufacturers. Cool fantasy sculpts, sci-fi sculpts, even historical sculpts you might use for something else. Let's start a post there that people can put things in the comments. We've got a whole bunch of links, so we can pin that as a post for people to check out.
That'd be awesome.
Just going to bring up these two. Again, Osprey Games, using them as a sort of a bit of a crutch here. Oathmark is
we've had some of those minis in the store. They're really nice kits.
The Oathmark kits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, made by North Star.
Yep.
Plastic miniatures for a rank and file miniatures game. Again by Joe McCullough. But again, this is a game where you could use your old Warhammer miniatures, or you could use your old Kings of War miniatures. You could use your Oathmark miniatures to play Warhammer. You can do all sorts of things. You can just take whatever you got, step out of what you've been using them for, and look to something else. I'm glad we've got so many folks in the chat. I knew that we'd have people in the chat who do that already. Something that's a little bit different, though, on the right with Burrows and Badges. That is about, like, the joy of that game really comes from using those anthropomorphic characters, the badgers, the mice, the field mice. It's like Wind in the Willows, but a war game.
Yeah, or like Redwall.
Redwall?
Redwall is like Wind in the Willows, but it's a modern, it's an updated take. It's about 15, 20 years newer, 30 years newer.
Okay. I missed it completely. So
I only know it because I worked at a bookstore. Like
okay.
I'm too old to have read it, but it's same idea. Like there's a mouse who's like a knight, and he's like part of this little community.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. Oh, just as he's using those slain models, slain minis he mentioned in Oathmark.
Nice.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, those are cool.
But yeah, definitely checking out some of those Burrows and Badgers stuff. Demon Ship. Admiral Lev in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here, still watching. But yeah, games like Demon Ship, Night Thirst, a bunch of other games. Steel Rift. We mentioned that earlier, Jake, before the show.
Yeah.
So games where companies that make terrain is really what we're looking at here. So Blacksite Studios and Death Ray Designs have both sort of moved or added to their catalog, I guess, not just selling terrain, but now making games, making miniatures. Luna is one that Jake mentioned.
Yeah.
Has cool things that you saw at Adepticon a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But each of these games is really made as miniatures agnostic games. Steel Rifts was written by Ash Barker again.
Yep.
And Death Ray Designs do make miniatures, but you don't have to use those ones. There are a lot of other minis in a similar scale, a lot of other mech games.
What is it, like 8mm mechs?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's roughly that.
Yeah. I mean, you could use Battletech mechs really easily, or like, 1,000,001. You could use like little kids, like, plastic robot toys, and you'd be fine.
Yeah. Sorry, I just noticed in the chat, Jonathan Palomo has said no audio. Can everybody else hear us? Or is it just Jonathan that can't?
I would assume everybody else can hear us. They keep commenting on what we're saying.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Excellent. Cool. That's great. Scott says Lunar is miniature agnostic. You can use anyone's 1980s era armed astronauts minis.
Yeah, I mean, technically.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, strictly speaking, every game is really miniatures agnostic if you try hard enough.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Excellent. That's good. Dave Pauwels says 5x5 for all three. Nice. That's great. Back to Osprey games like a War Transformed, Black Ops again. So War Transformed is kind of a World War One, a weird World War One game. Not really dabbling in the same sort of arena as.
I mean, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to run the Blackadder crew. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go. I was going to say, not really in the same approach as Trench Crusade. Quite a different kind of thing. But Steven says the founder of Otherworld Miniatures is a friend of mine. There's a range of split between multiple companies. Some of these are coming back into production now, while we'll have to wait for the others. Cool. Nice. Oh, and Jeff has joined us as well. Jeff Smith, welcome. Fantastic. And Black Ops on the right there. Initially, when I sort of saw the name, it was like, okay, this is a modern skirmish game. But it looks kind of sci-fi.
Maybe.
Or maybe there's a great 80s almost Megaforce vibe with the
sure,
the headband.
What about what's the car game?
Oh, Gaslands.
Yeah, like Gaslands is miniatures agnostic.
Absolutely.
100%.
That's specifically go out and stick stuff on your Matchbox cars. But yeah, but these are other ones where there are no ranges being made for these. There are companies that make great moderns games and miniatures. You can again, you put together a force, and then you can switch back and forth between rule sets depending on what you like. Oh, sorry, Jez. Just go back for a second. In War Transformed, it's a bigger mini numbers in War Transformed. Very folk horror. World War One. Oh, fought on the Dogland front as the North Sea has retreated. Great setting. Cool. Excellent. Oh, and Patrick says Gaslands is awesome. Vicky is working on a PDF for using rocket bikes in that.
Blood Demon Painting joined us.
Like those rocket bikes. Yeah.
Welcome, Amos.
Welcome. Sean says Black Ops is like near future, so like Shadowrun-ish.
Okay. Radio.
Is there hacking? Do you have to hack computers in there?
I mean, it looks like there's a guy on his tablet in the background.
Yeah.
Yep. He could just be like transferring cryptocurrency, though. I don't know.
He could be.
He could be. He's like, oh man, my tablet's about to get shut.
No, you know what it is? That doorway is a border, so he's trying to figure out what the tariff rate is for their bullets as they're shooting them across the border.
Right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There we go. Moving right along. I also want to do your shout out to Snarling Badger Games, Uncle Adam and Vince Venturella.
Dude, those demons are cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd seen those demons before.
Yeah, I haven't seen them before. I have no idea where they're from.
I feel like I should know that model.
I don't know.
The one that's like running with like the thigh bone over its head. Right. That looks like somebody's troll and they did a head swap.
I don't know that the trolls are that active. I think it could be.
Those are cool though. We'll have to ask Adam. I don't know what those are from.
Yeah, but one thing I do know is that Snarling Badger doesn't sell those.
Right.
Either as physical or STLs. But that was a picture describing Rain in Hell. You know, my first game of Rain in Hell tomorrow night, and I'm using models from. I'm using some flies from the Gellerpox infected, some flies and some what do you call them? Pox walkers from that, and then my leader and my sort of second in charge are spawn models, which will be a lot of fun. But again, just being used for a completely different game. Which takes us through to one-page rules. And I think when one-page rules started out, I'm going to say like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer, maybe 7 years, pre-pandemic, I think. It felt very much like their aim was, we're going to provide you with a different gaming option for your 40K minis.
Right.
We've created a game which is, it's one page of rules, or rules that fit on one piece of paper. And we're going to call it Grim Dark Future. I think maybe even at the time it was just sort of sci-fi game, generic sci-fi game. But another way to use your 40K minis to play them in a different game. Just play a different game with them. But now, if you type in one-page rules and click like images, it's just going to be a sea of STL options.
Right.
So I'm wondering if the initial idea for one-page rules was to, like, okay, well, we'll just slide in to people's DMs slowly with a free rule set, and then we'll get them hooked and reel them into the 3D printing world. And just so now they're creating games that aren't connected to Age of Sigmar or 40K and providing miniatures for them. So I'm not sure exactly if that's their aim. Kind of feels like that. But then it sort of just gives you that sort of cycle back that you can either then take those minis that they're producing, buy the STLs, print your models, play some 40K with it. or
Right.
take your 40K models and play some this sort of thing with it.
Have you guys played these? Have you played this?
I haven't. I've got some friends who have.
Yeah.
And they don't, when they're talking about it, they don't talk about it as, oh, should we play 40K or one-page rules? Even though they might be using their 40K armies to play one-page rules.
Right.
They think about it very differently. It's not, it's the game doesn't, for them, the game doesn't work. Doesn't fulfill the same, doesn't scratch the same itch.
Right.
Is sort of a way to put it. So the two different games scratch two different itches. I would say that. But have you had any experience with one-page rules at all, Jake?
I have not. It is not really my cup of tea, I guess.
Right.
For a couple reasons. Somebody earlier, I forget who it was. Somebody made a comment about how it can be hard to find, like a play group for. Matt said it. He goes, it's hard finding gaming groups who are open to playing miniatures agnostic wargaming. That's true, but I also think even finding people that are into because there's so many miniatures agnostic games.
Yep.
It's really hard to find somebody who happens to like the same one that you do or that's into it. In my neck of the woods, like we've talked about this before.
Yep. Playing
Warhammer 40K, you and I could pack up a 40K army, like at 2,000 points, and we could literally go to any city probably in the US and find a local hobby shop and get a game of 40K. Like, you know what I mean? Like we could walk in, hey, I brought my army. Anybody got, oh yeah, okay. Like the odds of me wandering into some random store and being like, hey, who wants to play some, insert random, like one
who wants to play some bars and badges?
Yeah. Like
who wants
to play Dracula's America? You know what I mean? Like the odds are not very good that I'm going to randomly find somebody.
Yeah. There is a bit more work that's involved, right?
Yeah. And again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like there's a lot of days where I'm like, hey man, I just want to get a game in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like it's already gonna be like a lot to play the game. I don't want to also have to work to find someone to play the game with.
Yeah.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Dave?
Well, I mean, I play so like infrequently these days that the idea of playing with a complete stranger in another city is like terrifying to me. No thanks.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think, I play with a group, a local group, and we sort of like, in a way, I've sort of been a little hypocritical, right? Because I've been saying, to me, I want the story from like the Grunt Trooper, which is why I think like Rogue One is such a great Star Wars movie, because it's not Jedi, right? It's it's the grunts on the ground. So I kind of like that aspect of wargaming, but at the same time, I just recently agreed to play the Batman miniatures game.
Oh my God! Did you lose a bet?
It's not something like that for sure, but like and it's like Marvel Crisis Protocol, right? You're playing characters that everybody knows, that are popular characters. Some are not as popular, but these are all characters from comic books that are you're not creating anybody yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's it's interesting. I mean, I love the idea of, having a group that you can decide, well, let's do, Rogue Stars, but instead of Star Wars, we're going to use Star Trek. Like the Modifius made those really nice Star Trek figures. Right. And like, I'm going to put a Klingon band together. You put a Romulan band together.
Yeah.
So I love rules like that, but you do have to have a group that sort of agrees to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just say, I'm going to bring my Klingons to, Cincinnati, like Jake's saying. I mean, you're right.
Yeah. Don't think you can take Klingons anywhere, really. But...
I mean, maybe.
To Stovacor. Yeah.
Dave, glory to you and your house.
I think Jez has thrown in sort of one of the key things there. It says, I hook people in with painting up what's needed for both players. So
yeah,
with which as we said, it's a lot more work, and that lot more work might be painting up a couple of tables worth of terrain, painting a few forces. If you're playing a small game that's 8 to 10 models, that's not too tough. Jake, you painted 20 models over the last 3 days. You could do that. You'd be able to do something like that. But there is that additional preparation work. There's the additional engagement. There's the encouraging people to take a look at the rule book. There's and then running demo games.
Yeah, and the beauty is, for the most part, unless you're doing Hail Caesar, right, which is a pretty big scale, black powder, most of these games are pretty low model count, right? Yeah. So, I mean, they're manageable.
Yeah. And you got to, I think, when you start talking about the other games, right, the larger games and that sort of thing, that's where you've used your smaller games to build your group, build your local core. Right. And then you can say, how about we try this?
Which, I mean, our favorite miniatures agnostic game these days is Saga, right?
Right.
We play Saga. We're going to play more Saga, and you can, a whole slew of companies makes Greek hoplites.
Yep.
Victrix makes really beautiful plastic hoplites. War Games Foundry makes beautiful hoplites. So you can, that's,
there's nice hoplites in the Conquest line.
Yep.
Right. Or War Gods of Egyptus, right? They have some cool, yeah.
So I think I think we've hopefully we've explored a little bit more of what miniatures agnostic could be. I don't know if I totally had a point, but I think I'd like the idea to be that people could watch the show and go away thinking, actually, I don't have to be restricted. I don't have to be blanketed. I can move on.
I think everybody, I think a lot of people have a very different. We're a little different, right? Like, all of us have been playing war games for, more than 20, if not 30 years. And I would think that a healthy chunk of the folks that are watching this are in some similar, decade or 2 decades or 3 decades in. And I know we've got some new players too. But I don't think most people, whether you've been playing forever or whether you're relatively new, I don't think most people sit around and go, do I want to have miniatures that have rules, or do I want to have rules that have miniatures, or do I, Like, I don't think a lot of people care. Like, for me, it's always been like, what models do I think look cool?
Yeah.
And like, I talked about this on Sunday. That's how I got into Warhammer. And same thing with Dave. We both saw the RTB01 box, and we're like, oh, what are these?
Yeah.
And that was the, that's the roller coaster, like ticking up the ramp, right?
Yeah.
So, and then it was like, oh, there's rules for this? That's super cool. So for me, it's always like, are the miniatures cool? If the miniatures are cool, I'm in. So whenever there's miniatures agnostic games, I'm like, sure, theoretically, like, I could just find cool miniatures.
Yeah.
But then I have to find a miniatures agnostic system that they fit in, I guess. So for me, it's always easier to go minis first.
Yeah.
And then kind of go the other. Because I was trying to think about, I'm like, are there any minis agnostics games that I play?
Yeah.
Like, not even like ever, but like routinely that I own. And the only one I could really come up with is Steel Rift.
Right.
And again, it was their minis that pulled me in. And I was like, oh, remember, because they have all their really nice glass cases. We'll see them at Adepticon. They look really cool. They're all the plexi little displays. And I remember being like, oh, those guys are cool. And they were like, oh, that's for this game, Steel Rift. And I was like, oh, how much is it? And they're like, a super reasonable price one. I was like, give me all of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how my brain works. And like I said, I know everybody's a little different. Like, Ash likes to write a lot of cool rule sets. And then, you can get into it. So like, I like Ash's writing. Like I said, Steel Rift is great. It's a fun game. But yeah, for me, it's always like the mini is the lure.
Yeah.
So whenever you're like, oh, what is this game? You're like, it's anything you want. I'm like, I mean, I already have those minis though, and I use them in a game that I already play.
I think
Trench Crusade is probably the only thing I can think of that is going to get a lot of people.
Yeah, that is actively says miniatures.
Right, which is hilarious, and it's the minis that got people. It's the minis and the art.
Yeah, right.
My take on this, Jake, is that people possibly more people than you might think make their purchases based on how much use they're going to be able to get out of their models.
Sure.
They might think the model is cool, but if they're not going to be able to play with the model, they're not going to be particularly interested in it.
Tell that to my pile of shame. Like,
oh yeah. Well, their planning is always based on being able to use it, having a plan for it.
I did not
I
buy
think
these
a lot of people who just go, oh, random cool stuff. All these models are cool. I'm going to buy them all.
I did not buy the Metal Noise Marine or the Beastman Space Kill Team because I was going to use them. I thought they looked bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's not you.
Sure.
I described you. I'm describing other people.
I get that.
But the idea that you can then take your models, like when last time I played Stargrave, my band was made from my Gene Stealer cultists. So I can use them for Gene Stealer cults in 40k. I can use them for Gene Stealer cults in Necromunda. But did you pick up and in Stargrave?
But did you pick up Stargrave being like, ooh, this is a way I can get my Gene Stealer cults on the table? Or did you pick it up and get familiar with the rules and then you were like, what do I have that I could use in this game?
Well, actually, it was my gaming group said, hey, in 3 months' time, we're going to play Stargrave. Everybody get your bands together. Here's how you build a warband for it.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was
right.
Yeah, I don't have time to paint any more minis.
Right. And then you find cool miniatures because there's so many cool miniatures now.
Yeah.
So I think like for us playing like Rogue Stars or Stargrave, we wanted to use our Star Wars figures because we had a bunch of Star Wars figures and there was no way we're going to play Legion. So, we wanted a smaller scale game. We tried it and we enjoyed the rules so much. We're like, well, what other cool sci-fi models are there that we could, put together? So I think, there's definitely a sort of a combination of the two because the models are definitely your entry point for the most part, to any game, I think. But yeah, if you're planning ahead and you have a group that wants to try something.
Yeah, that's different. It's like, because I do a lot of it with my role play groups. Like somebody will be like, hey, I found this random RPG that I want to try. And we'll go, okay. But again, we have an established group and someone wants to do it. So we're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll try that out. But so like if we were all hanging out all the time and one of you guys came to us and was like, hey, I found this random miniatures agnostic thing that I found, like I want to try it out. I think we would all be that we'd all be amenable. Be like, yeah, let's do that. But I think like as an individual, because sometimes it can be hard to find playgroups that do that. I feel like that's probably a big sticking point, I would think, for a lot of these folks. Jez just had a great thing. He goes, sometimes I'll buy agnostic rules as an excuse to buy minis, and then sometimes I'll buy minis as an excuse to try rules. So I get it. It's a chicken and egg scene for a lot of us. But
see, Jake, that's funny though. My RPG group is like, hey, I've got a random RPG I want to try, and they're like, no. No way.
Josh says, I painted a Necromunda Outcast gang so that it could double for Stargrave. Excellent. Dave Pauwels says, my X-Wing Armada collection. My goodness. Then he says, 90% of my Firstborn chapter will likely never see the tabletop for their intended play. That's fair. That's a collecting thing, for sure.
True.
And Josh said, ultimately, Trench Crusade is a rule set with a really interesting suggested aesthetic. Making miniatures is a whole other sort of thing. I don't blame Thomas and co. for leaning into player creatives. Absolutely.
No, that's for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I told you the crazy thing that I heard when I was at Gamma, right?
No, I'm not sure.
I think I talked about it on Sunday. I don't remember. So, a good, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, so I'm not gonna mention any names, but so a good friend of mine was talking to some people who do a lot of legal representation and IP management and IP legal representation. And apparently the Trench Crusade gang was talking to them about if there's a way to get the genie back in the bottle and if there's a way to make the STLs that people got not free anymore. And the lawyers were like, there's no way to do that because part of their purchase or part of their Kickstarter backing was they get access to those STLs. So there's no way to take that away unless you guys somehow did a refund system. But even then, you've already given them access. Like they've already downloaded the STLs. Right. So they're trying to figure. So I guess the problem is that they went into this, like a lot of us do, being like, we're going to do a Kickstarter because we want to make a cool game. And they did that. And now that they've made a ton of money on it, they see that there's a business potential. And they were like, how do we redirect this and make it a business? And basically the legal representation was telling them that ship has not just sailed, it is out of the harbor on the horizon. Like that boat is gone. Like you had to go into this either making a business that you were going to also do STLs or do it the way that you did it. But so now they're trying to figure out how to like.
Yeah. As your attorney, I advise you to make a time machine.
Yeah. That's what I said. I was like, step one, get a DeLorean.
Yeah. That whole conversation sounds quite an odd one based on the folks that I know at Trench Crusade. But I don't know. Anyway, it is time for us to look at minis.
Excellent.
Let's do that.
This has been a real pleasure, by the way.
Cool.
You guys are.
No, it's been great.
You guys are pretty hospitable. Yeah. It's not at all like I was told it would be.
Who warned you?
I'm not. Like Jake. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
It was Jeff Smith.
I was going to say it's Patrick, right?
No, John Schaefer.
He saw that picture and he said, "Don't go on that show. They're terrible."
Yeah. John Schaefer's like that. They don't treat you very well. He said the green room was horrible.
Yeah.
It's just green. It's just a room that's green.
Yeah, no Schaefer's green room, like pre-game, is it's like a gremlin list. He won't eat green M&Ms. We have to have a certain kind of water.
Yeah. Excellent. But beautiful work here, Adam. Looks great.
Mark gets it. As soon as he posted this, I was like, that's M Bison.
Yeah.
That is M Bison from Street Fighter.
What does the M stand for?
I always thought it was major, but like they don't really tell you. It's M. Bison is how he's on the screen.
Okay. But
yeah, this is great.
It does look great there.
It's awesome.
It pops.
I think the volumes in that in the chest plate look really good. I think
my favorite part of this might be the reflection on the cap band.
The
hat. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I think this was a study in different textures. So it's very different, sort of different approach for each different.
You could invert the colors, and this could be like Hulk joins the Imperial Guard.
Could be, for sure.
The veins in his arms, like this guy has time to hit the gym. It's insane.
Yeah.
He did not miss arm day.
No.
I guess that uniform line, I don't know. Maybe that's why the sleeves are rolled up. He couldn't roll them down over the forearms.
This is like the smartest Ogren.
Yep. But it looks great, Adam.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Next up, Alan.
Nice.
His Blood Crushers finished. For his spearhead.
These are great.
And he said that this coming weekend he's got a tournament, a spearhead tournament. So that'd be cool. And we need to find out, Alan, are you bringing these to Adepticon? Alan's first trip.
Yeah, this is his spearhead, right?
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, they look very cool. Did you use the Kraut cover, Grimdark Kraut cover basing? I just noticed some little tiny bones.
Oh, maybe. Nice. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah,
I do like the little touches of oxidization he's got.
Right.
Although technically it's brass, so
which oxidizes as well.
It does, but it doesn't turn green.
Well, not super green. Yeah.
But it looks cool. I love it. It's a nice spot of color on these models. Like the red is awesome. I love how cherry they look.
Yeah. Well, of course you're gonna like the red.
I love it.
Anyway, moving along swiftly. So Amos painted up this Qua.
What is this guy?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I can't remember the name of the game.
It's like a candy corn that came to life.
No.
No.
So there's a guy in California, like the Bay Area, is Zombie Smith is the name of his company.
Okay.
And yep, this Quaz War is the name of the game. But yeah, so both sides are these crazy creatures that he has created called Quaz, which are kind of like little anteater guys. Yep.
It has a very Earthworm Jim vibe.
Yep.
Yeah,
But,
I like
just super cute little metal minis.
How big is this little guy?
I think that's like a 25 mil base.
But I mean, is he like dwarf size? Is he like
maybe just a little bit taller than a dwarf? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
One with anteaters.
But yeah, Amos, the speckling on the skin does look great. It's really nice.
He's super cool.
Yeah, as Jess says, it's a charming game. The tanks are adorable.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it is 28 mil, or like 25, 28 mil scale.
I'll have to
But
check
yeah, just a little bit taller than a dwarf.
Right on.
Yeah, looking great. Nice one, Amos. And
Amos hit some post effects.
Cinematic.
Looks great.
That's awesome. I'd go watch that movie.
Excellent. Cal's done some more Goblinoid kit bashing.
Oh yeah.
These guys are great.
Saw some of these last week, but this week we can very definitely see where the heads are from.
Yep.
But yeah, looks like you're having fun with these for sure, Cal.
The top knots are always a dead giveaway.
Right. Yep. Yeah, looking cool. Those guys are ripped as well.
Yeah.
It's the night for buff dudes.
Seriously.
There we go.
I don't know what gym the goblins go to, but
all good. Cal also posted this, which is why I had to wear the alien shirt.
This guy was
that's fantastic.
Yep. So this is from Mike Cousins at Epic Duck Studio. Oh, sorry, the mini is from Mike Cousins at Epic Duck Studios.
Nice.
He started messing around with doing different fun. Well, basically taught himself to sculpt digitally and started making ducks to go with his logo, the Epic Duck, and discovered that there's a whole Jeep thing where Jeep owners like to get rubber duckies and line them up on their dashboard. And so he is doing all sorts of crazy ducks. Yes.
I thought this was for the new Howard the Duck movie that's coming out.
It could be. It's the Howard the Duck Aliens crossover.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I mean, they've done it with every other comic book. Why not do it with Howard the Duck?
Yeah, excellent. Oh, and Mark Maxey says he also does an Earthworm Jim head for Space Marines.
Nice.
Yeah, looks great there, Cal. Really nice work.
Yeah, that's cool.
We mentioned Ahsoka Tano before.
Nope, that's not Ahsoka.
That's
not Ahsoka?
Shakti.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I'm terrible. I'll shut up from now on.
I'm impressed that I knew that.
Good work.
Thank you. That looks great.
Yep. So Chris Gorka and
Super
some more Jedis, which is awesome.
Jedi.
Oh, sorry. Just go back to this. Cal says that this was not painted by him. It was painted by Mike, and he accidentally posted the pic. So there we go. Nice work, Mike.
Pretty good.
Very cool.
Well, nobody's gonna cry foul.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did.
A couple more Jedi here. So that's a Hammerhead on the left. Yeah. Is he a particular character?
An Ithorian.
Fun?
An Ithorian.
An Ithorian.
Way to use the racial diminutive, Dave.
I'm sorry.
Ithorian?
I'm sorry. I thought you'd seen him in a 1970s film, so obviously there was going to be some racial diminutives.
I always thought the coolest thing about them is they have stereoscopic vocalizations, so when they talk, it's in stereo.
Oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
What about the guy on the right?
I forget what those guys are called.
Yeah. But is he a Jedi Master?
Yeah, he's one of the guys that's on the. I mean, I don't know if this box is actually the council, but they're supposed to be representatives of the council. So,
right.
This is like when they land on like Geonosis, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Looking great there, Chris.
They look great.
Nice work. Chris Kemig finished painting up his Archmagos.
Dude, this guy looks so good.
For his 30k army that he's taking to Adepticon. He does look really cool.
Yeah, very characterful, this guy.
Yeah.
So Chris and I were talking as we were getting ready because he helped me with my list initially because I haven't played a lot of Zone Mortalis, and we were going back and forth, and I was bouncing ideas off of him. And when he heard me talk last week, and I was like, all right, so everything's primed and built. I have 3 weeks to paint my army. He was messaging me, and he was like, dude, I'd be freaking out. I was like, really? He's like, I still have one model to finish, and I'm losing my mind. And this is the last model, and he's basically finished him. And he was like, I thought I was going to rip my hair out. He's like, I can't believe that you're going to paint. I'm like, dude, I'm going to finish painting on Tuesday before Adepticon. Like, that's my plan. And he was like, he's like, just hearing about that is giving me anxiety. And I was
like, Carl says, I mean, this one is okay if you're into cool painted minis, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of us are, so we can move these along.
Not my bag of tea.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is Chris's
oh, nice.
force assembled and ready for Adepticon.
Dude, I just love big robots.
Yeah. Yeah, the Thanatars look great, don't they?
Yeah, they look sick.
Now, I used to play 30K. I haven't played 30K in its newest iteration. It's
way better. It's way better.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was a little cumbersome back in the day. When
I hated it at first. Like the old version, couldn't stand it. But the new version I really like. It's done really well. They learned a lot.
Is this like a Zone Mortalis sized force, or is this bigger?
I believe this is Chris's Zone Mortalis force.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is like 1,500 points.
Yeah, it's 1,500 points. You can't have anything.
Okay.
For Zone Mortalis, you can't have anything that has the cavalry keyword, anything that has the vehicle keyword, and you can't have anything that has more than 8 wounds.
Okay.
Right.
Which means you can't run any of the. I don't think you can run any of the Primarchs. Well, you can't run them anyways because none of us are running. Whatever is 20. Yeah, we're not running enough points.
Okay, right.
But it's really fun. And then Chris and I specifically are playing in a game that's boarding actions. But
okay.
But no, it's super fun. But again, Heresy has a lot of flexibility for a game. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just Space Marines. And I was like, sort of. It's Space Marines and like there's no aliens in it. It's basically Space Marines. You've got Mechanicus, both Dark Mechanicus and Light Mechanicus. And then you've got like Knightly Houses and there's Solar Auxilla. And then there's like supposedly they're coming out with like the Demons of the Ruin Storm. But basically everything that I just listed, all the Space Marines, Mechanicus, and Solar Aux can be played either way. You're either playing them as loyalists or heretics or black shields or whatever. It's really cool. I really, really enjoy Heresy, like way more than I thought I was going to. Because like I said, I did not like the first iteration is based on 7th edition.
Yeah, the second, the current one is based on 7th edition as well.
Well, ish. It's 7th.
It's there are some things that are taken out, and there's some really good things that have been put in.
Right,
but it's still not. It's closest. What do you call it? Relation is 7th edition.
Oh yeah, like the skeleton is still 7th, but they've learned so much. There's a healthy dose of like I would say 8th in there. In terms of like how you do your list building and stuff like that, and the way stuff gets affected, it's different. Than like 7th was all like, do you have this detachment? Then you get these rules, and you have a little bit of that. But then there's also a lot of like character bubbles and like joining units and stuff that 7th didn't really have. It is really a good game. It's a lot of fun.
If I had 1,500 points like from this, right, 1,500 points of Iron Warriors.
Yeah.
What would I have now, roughly?
400 points. No, I don't know. probably
26 points.
Similar.
No, I mean the points are similar. Your army would probably, if I'm being honest, your army would probably be slightly smaller, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
Slightly,
Anyway.
like not a
we're gonna move on. We're looking at cool models.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Mick Palazzi is just joined us.
nice.
Very nice.
So yes, Imperial Warhounds here from Sulin.
Very nice.
Sulin has said he's finally got a chance to get back to some.
Yeah, Sue obviously did his with a like a metallic undercoat.
Yep.
But I like it. They look rad.
They do look really nice. Great work.
Yeah, really nice.
Jeff Smith.
Ooh, Jeff.
Just painted a bunch of stuff recently, done some commission work.
What's this guy's name? Dreer?
Commander Dreyer.
Yeah, this guy's awesome.
Dreer.
I'm assuming it's drear, like the landscape is drear and bleak.
I thought it was Dreyer, like because he was higher up, away from the trench, sort of out of the trench on mud. So he was Dreyer.
This model is so. I love that the horses like you're trying to figure out, is this a Disney animatronic horse? Because like his skin is ripped on the right foreleg and there's no blood. It's just machine parts.
Yeah.
It's like a robot in a horse costume.
Pretty much. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, looks fantastic, Jeff. Beautiful work.
Got a gaping wound, but keep that gas mask on.
Yeah,
seriously.
He's also painted up these Tempestus Aquilons.
Nice.
So these are the jump troops they're in one of the recent kill team.
There's just something about Imperial Guardsman with a beret on. I love it.
But yeah. There we go. Lord Marshal Dreer.
Super cool.
Cool. Looks great, Jeff. Nice work. And Jeff also did some reworking on the Human Torch. Yeah.
Yeah. The one on the right, the one on the right is the original one, and then the one on the left is the updated version.
Yeah. This is was it Chris Evans?
Yes, in the first one. And then it's oh God. He's been played by 3 different people now. 4 different people now.
Yeah.
Wait,
but,
now it's the
So which one do we like? Do we like the one on the left or the one on the right?
So the one they're both great. The one on the left,
well, they're awesome.
The one on the left is more accurate to the comics.
Oh, okay. Radio. Whereas the one on the right is more Bernie.
Yeah, the one on the right is probably more realistic. The one on the left is more comic accurate.
Right.
But I think the one on the left also sort of there's more of a definition, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the comics, they always make him like Johnny Storm always looks like super red and he's like striated with lines. And then he's surrounded by like yellow and orange flame. Whereas on the one on the right, it just looks like he's on fire.
Right.
Which is, I mean, that's what he's supposed to be. So it works. But the one on the left is a little more accurate.
Right. Very cool. Carl Tuttle says it's Robert Downey Jr. on the left. Surprise! He plays all the heroes and villains now. Excellent. But yeah, looking cool. Nice work, Jeff.
Yeah, Dave Hummel nailed it. Comic book left, live action right.
Yeah.
Somebody got their Bauhaus.
Yep. Got their minis from Warzone Eternal. And I got mine just over there. They're just on the other side of the desk.
Dude, Vesuvian Rangers they're my favorite model.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a ranger with a rifle and a skull mask?
Nobody in their right mind.
That's right. That's the only correct answer.
I was trying to argue it against it, but I can't.
Oh,
you are not wrong.
What could you say? So what game is this for?
Warzone Eternal.
Warzone. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
yeah, those are cool.
It is the current Mutant Chronicles game. Res Nova. We own the rights to it. So we did this is from the Kickstarter we did a year ago.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years ago.
Yep. Oh no. Yeah, 2 years ago. It was like late 2023.
Yeah.
Mid 2023. Yeah.
So like a year and a half ish.
Yeah. Thereabouts. But yeah, the minis do look cool. But now when you see them painted, Jeremy.
Yeah, paint them up.
It's so good.
Next week, paint them up.
John Steining. Got his. This is Epic Battles. Black Powder Epic Battles.
So this is like this is why you do this scale, right? Why,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
I can hear the rumble of artillery and like bugles.
And can you hear the cavalry here about to charge that square, or to get to the square and peel off?
Not if they're Polish winged hussars. They're not going to peel off.
They're not. I think they're like French light cavalry. But
yeah, I've been following John's all his historical stuff, and it's fantastic. The boards look fantastic that he built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, man.
They look great. Nice work, John. Looks excellent.
Have me over, John. I'd like to play on that board.
I like one of my favorite things about this is up on the top right. He's got that whole thing of cotton, so he can like put little like puffs of smoke over. That's great.
Oh yeah.
That looks excellent. Nice one, John. Josh Potter.
Oh, these are his Nova Wolves.
Yep. I wonder if he's calling them Nova Wolves because he's using the Nova orange paint from Monument.
Yeah, I like that tone a lot.
They look great. Like growing up, like I remember back in the day, it wasn't Blood Angels red, it was Blood Angels orange. So like I always have a soft spot for orange Marines. You don't see enough of them.
Yeah. And coming along nicely, Josh.
They look great. I like how he has like two different oranges too. There's like the shoulder pads are like a darker orange, and then there's like a slightly lighter orange that's like their armor.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look cool. Excellent. Good one, Josh. Yep, the paint inspired the name. Cool.
Nice.
Next up, Justin Corbett. So another new person posting in the group.
What is this? The Gabapalooza, I think.
Yeah, Gabapalooza. So
goblins on like mind-altering mushrooms.
Yeah, these guys are super trippy. I think my favorite is the guy with the scare mask here on the left.
So crazy.
Yeah, they look awesome. Or
those are
the one on the right here has vibes of like the old collector lady from Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
Imagine just huge amounts of stuff piled up on her back.
The guy right behind him with all the drinks on his back, like he's like selling drinks somewhere.
Beer here.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look great, Justin.
They're
Excellent
awesome.
color choices. Super trippy. Justin McCoy. So he's doing a sort of a test of his truck stop.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That thing is so cool.
Great. Oh, Alan's joined us.
His
Alan
boat
Bannick.
stop.
Excellent. Looking really good. He's got some more details that he's going into there. I love the cooler on the left.
Yeah.
Pushing it. Looking really good.
I mean, that fish is going to go bad. You got to put the lid on.
Yeah. I wonder if somebody's about to buy it.
Can you imagine if it's a hot, sunny day?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a Studio Ghibli, right? Like in model, right?
Yeah.
Really
the cat in the basket.
Yeah. Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is great. There's so many little like Easter eggs on this thing.
Yeah. Awesome work. Yeah, actually, yeah, if you check out the Facebook group, or if you check out last week's show, you can see all the cool details on those soda machines that he's got in there. But yeah, beautiful work there, Justin. Come along wonderfully. Kevin Doherty has joined us as well. These are some of his trolls.
Nice.
Yeah, Kev is an old buddy of mine. He used to work at the Harvard bunker with me. I've known him for years, and he posted these on his page, and I was like, dude, show these off. And he was like, here. And I'm like, post them on Build Paint Play. So he's like, okay.
Excellent.
No, they came out
like it's slap chop approach for these.
I think so.
Yep. So those crystals embedded in the rock look really cool.
Yeah.
And the crystals on the back of the
Yeah, and on that guy's like Warhammer too, right? Isn't that his hammer? I think?
Yep, embedded in the club.
Nice.
But yeah, looking good. There's the shot from the back.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, nice work, Kevin. Looking great.
Do dig him.
Nice one. Kristen Simonson.
These are awesome. I mean, I don't like that doll thing at all.
It's a creepy nightmare.
Yeah, I don't like him. The guy on the left is rad.
The herder.
Yeah, at first I thought it was like a Kroot because it's like
right. Yep.
It almost looks like he has the Kroot, like the quills.
No. But no.
Yeah, I'm always impressed by this stuff, and it's just so characterful and so
disturbing.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. but it's I mean that's looks great.
That sword is super cool too. That like crazy serrated sword that guy has.
Yeah. That is neat. The body of that guy is a flagellant, an Empire flagellant.
Oh, okay.
I painted that model a lot of times.
Yeah.
I might actually have. No, it's not the same one. Not quite. Okay. But yeah,
cool model.
Looks right there. Nice work, Kristen.
He always has the best like atmosphere going on in his stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. Luis is working on his third suppressor.
Yep.
For his combat patrol.
It looks like a Gundam.
Yeah, it's coming along. But looking good. Can't wait to see them all finished, Luis.
Super good.
Good. Next up, so Nathan Sorensen posted these. He's taking all of this to Adepticon. He's going to be using this in a one-page rules Grimdark Future Firefight, the skirmish version of the one-page rules game.
Nice. All the symbols he used on the containers, those are all from the Votan, right?
Yeah. Yep. And they just work perfectly, don't they?
Yeah,
they look great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there we go. Some sci-fi characters on the front.
Yeah, see right there, he's handing off. That's the tariff bill. He's handing it off right there. Even in the in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only tariffs.
Yeah. But looking very cool there, Nathan.
Yeah, they're gonna make you check all those bags.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to
I'm gonna need you to open all these up.
Your table when you're playing. Be good. Next up, Patrick Keith.
Oh, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yep. He's definitely enjoying his Eldar Renaissance.
Dude, I love the new Wraith Lord. Like I remember playing back at the store in 2003, and you were like, "Where's your Wraith Lord?" And it's like, he's this metal guy. You're like he's supposed to be like a big walking robot. Yeah. He's about half the size of a Space Marine Dreadnought. You're like, that makes sense. And now he's huge. I love the new model.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking great. Love that pose as well.
Yeah,
that's why
very dynamic.
They're like eminently posable as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, great work there, Patrick.
I like the Banshee.
Yeah.
Those new sculpts are so good.
Yeah. Excellent. Nice stuff. Next up, Reese.
Oh, his crab thing?
Yeah, so he's what did you say this was going to be? Oh.
Is this
what happened to them?
Is this a battle wagon?
No, I can't remember what it was.
A Gorkanaut?
Not a Stomper. But yeah. There's some more photos of it on the Facebook group. You can go and check it out. But yeah, this is for his pirate themed orc army.
I think it's great.
So that awesome anchor, flailing around on the end of one of the arms.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that in person. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice work, Reese.
I'm assuming that's like a night base.
I think so. Yeah. I think it is. But next up, Scott.
Oh, hello there. Count Dooku.
Dooku.
He's pretty great.
Yeah. I didn't quite line it up. I should have done a little bit better job when I was arranging it, but I wouldn't have it look like he was like reaching out for his name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
Next time around.
Christopher Lee is the man.
Yep, indeed. But yeah, I just love all of Scott's work on this. The light, the textures, the volumes. Looking awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
Saruman the Dark Gray. Excellent. But yeah.
I always liked his pistol grip lightsaber.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's super crazy. It's like an umbrella handle almost. It's awesome.
Different fighting style for that. But yeah. Beautiful work there, Scott. Looks great.
He's awesome.
Excellent. Next up, Sean Gleason.
What the heck is this?
Yeah.
Is this from from Hordes, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's gotta be some kind of War Machine product because of the beveled bit.
Yeah.
They love that base.
Yep. The round loop. But yeah. Looking great. I think
that's far out.
Yeah. So you got two creatures pulling it there, and with those I don't know if those are mouths or if those are antlers. Sean's in the there we go. Lilith the Reckoning. Let us know, Sean.
It's like two crazy like armored elk.
Yeah, is that what it is? Are these the heads and these are the antlers?
I think those are all antlers. I don't know. I don't know what their heads are supposed to look like.
Heads are,
wasn't so I haven't I used to follow well I like Lilith was an archer, right? I feel like I know that character.
I'm gonna pull up some pictures of her so I can see what the heck this thing looks like.
There we go. Alex says all antlers. Yep.
Yeah, it's just antlers.
Awesome. Yep. Nice.
They have like a chamfron like a horse would wear.
Right.
So there's a chamfron covering the top of the elk's head, and then that's just all antlers.
Yeah. Wild.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking good.
They're pretty cool looking.
Yep. At Adepticon, Jake's going to talk with some of the folks from Steamforged Games, get a couple of interviews under his belt there. And so in episodes after Adepticon, we'll be showing those.
Yep.
So we'll get to learn more about what's going on with War Machine and other aspects of stuff that Steamforged are doing. But yeah, looking nice. Good work, Sean.
Very cool.
It's great.
Everblight. That's what it was. I remember that.
Everblight.
Okay.
Dude, even the chariot's all nasty. There's like blades on the runners, and then it's got like blades sticking out on the side.
Oh yeah, it's all blades and pointy bits galore.
I don't want to be anywhere near her.
Next up, Stephen does some more work on his Centaur dragon.
Dude, this thing is hilarious.
It is. Yeah. But Stephen's doing such a great job on it.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's very cool. But yeah, beautiful work there. And one of the things that I'm glad he showed is in here. So on the wings, that the shadows have got that blue in there, the greenish blue, which just looks really, really nice, and just works really well with the underside of the dragon and the verdigris on the copper scales.
Yeah, looks very natural.
Yeah. But yeah, looking really good.
His wings are so weird. They're just like a curve.
Yep. Yeah, beautiful work there, Steve.
Yeah.
Nice one. Excellent. And so yeah, this is a very big sculpt. Is indeed. I'm not sure if do we have another one from Stephen, or is this the final thing? Oh, there we go. Next week.
Uh-oh.
Crunch time, Jake.
Yep.
So we're gonna have Jeff Smith on. Jeff Smith will be back, which will be super cool. Excited about that. But we're going to talk about painting to deadlines. It's something that Jake likes to do.
I do.
All the time, just loading himself up with more and more deadlines. Or
It's
maybe
the only way I get anything done.
maybe a couple of times a year.
I need to finish six Trench Crusade figures. And I'm
6.
done.
You can do it. 2 weeks, dude. 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm mildly confident about that.
Right.
But I got to watch this episode, I guess.
Yeah, you do. Just make sure you're painting while you're watching it.
100%.
That'll be good. Excellent. Dave Hummel says, painting to deadlines? What are those? Awesome. Yeah. We haven't mentioned that during the show. Don't forget to, who's still in the chat, leave a like and make sure you're subscribed. After the show, leave a comment, share it with your friends, all that sort of fun stuff. It all helps us out.
Yeah, help us outsmart the algorithm, folks. You know the drill.
Yep. Excellent. So, Dave, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're
Thanks
excited to
everybody in the
see you
chat.
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Awesome. Yeah, if people haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're like this far from 800. So I would love to hit that in time for Adepticon. That'd be cool. Dave and I will hopefully have some big news for you. We had should we tell them about the phone call thing or no?
Phone call thing?
Yeah.
No. We'll wait until after Adepticon.
I meant with my friend, that one.
Yeah. We'll wait until after Adepticon.
All right.
This is we're going to be talking to them again at Adepticon.
Sure.
Yes. No, we had a really good phone call Friday night, and we've hopefully got some great news coming. So we're excited.
That's a nice little teaser.
Yeah.
It is.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it's a nice little teaser.
Well, I'm glad everybody was here. I'm glad we had a good time. Dave, thanks for being here, man. It was cool. We'll get to hang out and do something at Adepticon. So
100%.
Yep.
Anything else, Dave? Are we good? Do we huge thanks to the Army Painter for sponsoring us. We appreciate that. Like I said, almost everything I'm using to paint my models this time is Army Painter, with a couple of exceptions. Like there's some, like I said, I use some Turbo Dork and some other stuff mixed in there. But yeah, like huge thanks to those guys. They've done a great job. I think that's it. I'm so tired. I still haven't caught up on sleep.
Good. Go get some sleep. Cool. Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, we're almost ready.
All right. Well, until next week, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down.